You don't save $8,000 by accident. You save it by skipping vacations, learning 11 ways to season rice, and begging a 2002 Civic to give me one more winter. That was me after high school, community college by day, precision machine shop by night, until an apprenticeship made me fall in love with turning raw metal into exact obedience. The first time a Part 1 program came off the CNC within a whisper of spec, I felt 10 feet tall and dusted in aluminum glitter. My family treated that like a cute phase. Sloane, my younger sister, was the star, theater kid, baby influencer, smile like a coupon code. If she sneezed, Mom brewed tea and posted, "Taking care of my angel." When I pulled a 12-hour shift, Mom texted, "Don't be dramatic." Gifts told the truth. Sloane got a vlogging camera. I got a mug, world's OKYST brother. I laughed because the alternative was crying into my rice. The watch wasn't impulse. It was a promise. After a raise and 3 side jobs, I bought a pre-owned Rolex Datejust from a reputable dealer. Not a yacht, not a crisis, just proof to myself that I could build something and keep it. Paperwork, warranty card, serial number, the boring folder only watch nerds love. I didn't wear it to the shop. My clothes are 60% machine oil, but on weekends it reminded me there was a weekend. Sloane noticed at Sunday dinner. "OMG, Lucas got jewelry!" She squealed, angling her phone so her cheekbones could also congratulate me. Mom laughed like I'd said I was joining a boy band. Dad squinted at the dial and asked if it came from a kiosk. "It's a Rolex," I said. "Relax." Sloane smirked. "It's just a watch." Just a watch, like it hadn't cost me 2 years of worn-out boots, like it wasn't the one thing in our house that loved me back exactly the same every time I looked at it. I swallowed the comeback and asked for potatoes. 2 Sundays later was Dad's birthday. Paper hats. Meatballs. Piece that lasts exactly 3 photos. I'd come straight from the shop, washed up, slipped the watch on. Dad smiles more when expensive things are nearby. In the kitchen, I took it off to wash my hands, tucked it in its soft pouch, and slid it behind the flour canister. It was there when I reached for a towel. It was not there 5 minutes later. I did the polite rummage, the "maybe I'm the idiot" search. Drawer, bag, jacket, under the mail, inside the mail. I once lost a paycheck that way. Bathroom, behind the soap. Nothing. My stomach shrank to the size of a lug nut. "Hey," I said, careful. "Has anyone seen the little pouch I left right here?" Sloane didn't look up. "What pouch?" Mom put on her customer service smile. "You're always misplacing things, honey." I walked back to the dining room. Sloane finally glanced up, met my eyes, and did that lip-tuck smirk she used when she borrowed my hoodie and posted it as #cozyvibes. Then she said the line that took the evening from awkward to electric. "It's just a watch, Lucas. Did you take it?" I asked, not moving. Sloane widened her eyes like a stage actress who'd lost her cue. "She's did it by accident." Mom laughed, patting Sloane's arm. "If she even did it at all." He climbed my ears. Not because of the steel. Because of the choreography. I was the problem for noticing there was a problem. Dad cleared his throat and said we shouldn't ruin his birthday with whatever this is. The old me would have apologized to the air and started checking behind curtains. The new me felt a click, the mental kind. "Fine. This time, we're not doing it your way." I didn't argue. No speech about respect, no serial numbers shouted into mashed potatoes. I put on my jacket, hugged Dad, said happy birthday, and drove home like I was balancing a glass vase over potholes. At my apartment, I set a flour canister on my counter. Yeah, I took it. When I'd leaned on the kitchen counter to breathe, my palm came away dusted. There'd been a crescent of flour smudged by something pouch-sized being yanked free. Dad's kitchen has a cheap corner camera I installed last year. The app was still on my phone. The watch serial was saved in 3 places. The paperwork lived in a fireproof bag. I opened the app and rewound. There, in grainy 1080p, me, tucking the pouch behind the canister. A minute later, Sloane. "Getting more napkins." Her hand went behind the canister. She pocketed the pouch, checked the hall, fluffed her hair, floated out. Timestamp clear as a green light. My chest went hot then cold. Not rage, something cleaner. Proof is a mercy when you've spent years being told your memory is dramatic. Old me would have printed screenshots and begged them to see. New me opened 2 tabs. The police non-emergency number and the stolen property form. 8,000 crosses the felony threshold here. I didn't want my sister cuffed between a centerpiece and a ring light. I wanted my life back. Sometimes the only adult in the room is the one who dials. The dispatcher was calm. I gave my name, address, item, serial, and said I had video. Understood. An officer will follow up tonight, she said. I emailed the footage with the receipt, the warranty card, and a photo of me holding the watch like a cheese ball the day I bought it. Proof on proof. Then I made the call my family never expected, my insurer. File a theft claim and mark the serial hot, I said. Pawn networks check serials, even neon-lit shops do paperwork. I showered. Made rice. Couldn't eat it. Mom texted, "Don't be petty about family." I put my phone face down and stared at the ceiling until 2:17 a.m. when it buzzed with an unknown number. "This is Officer Delgado with Westfield PD," a voice said, friendly but firm. "We're at your parents' address for a knock and talk. Do you authorize us to retrieve the item if they voluntarily surrender it?" "Yes," I said. "Please." My camera app pinged, the kitchen cam earning its keep. Blue and red spilled through lace curtains. The front door opened to the glow of the foyer we've taken 1,000 holiday photos in. Sloane shuffled in, suddenly very off-camera. Mom aimed a brittle smile. Dad looked like a man who just learned actions have paperwork. I couldn't hear words, but I could read the scene. Delgado held a clipboard, offered options and outcomes. Mom pointed at the ceiling, as if God had misplaced my watch in a vent. Dad gestured toward me even though I was pixels. Sloane tried to look smaller. Then she disappeared down the hall and came back with the pouch. She hesitated, tiny tilt of the chin, then handed it over. Delgado checked the dial, read the serial. His partner nodded. The pouch slid into a clear evidence bag. At 2:41 a.m., Delgado called again. "We've recovered the item. For now we're treating this as voluntary surrender pending your preference on charges. Are you willing to come in at 9 to sign release and give a statement?" "I'll be there," I said. "Copy," he replied. "And Mr. Hale?" "Yeah? Good job keeping your cool." I hung up and finally cried, not for steel under police lighting, but because after a lifetime of being told to be the bigger person, I'd learned there's a version where you don't shrink. I didn't sleep. I sat with the flour canister and waited for daylight. At 8:29 I was in the station lot, early because I treat punctuality like an apology. Officer Delgado met me with coffee. "We'll take your statement, log the video, then property can release the watch," he said. "If this goes to the DA, it's their call. Your preference matters." In a little room I told it straight, where I tucked the pouch, when it vanished, the footage, the serial, the "she's did it by accident" line that still rattled. Not the watch before, just the pattern, hoodies, headphones, tools that walked, birthday money that slipped into Sloane's wallet. Same playbook each time, minimize, mock, redirect. "Okay. Preference?" he said. "I want a report on file," I answered. "If the DA offers diversion, fine. But I'm done being the free lesson," he wrote. "Victim requests prosecution. Property released the watch." I checked the serial twice and finally breathed. Outside, my phone bloomed, 12 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad, 1 from Sloane, and a new group chat titled, "Let's be adults about this." Preview, Lucas, take this down now. I opened Instagram. There she was. "My brother called the cops on me over a misunderstanding. I borrowed his watch and forgot to put it back. Families shouldn't criminalize family." Comments rolled, "OMG, he did what? Men are so fragile." I screenshotted and put the phone down. Mom's text, "You humiliated us. This could hurt your father's job. Call the officer and fix it." Also, don't come tonight. Something new clicked between polite and poured concrete. I typed, I have video of the theft, the serial, the recovery. Statement given. Case number below. Don't negotiate via Instagram. If you show up at my apartment, I'll file for a no trespass order. Dad called. I let it ring. His voicemail slid from reasonable to warning. We could have handled this internally. Think about your sister's future. I scrubbed a pan so I wouldn't hear the old words the way they used to work: selfish, dramatic, ungrateful. At noon, my insurer flagged the serial across pawn networks and told me I could add it to my renter's policy. I laughed, scheduled my one nice thing. I sat in the park I used to nap in between classes and the night shift. Same bench, different spine. I replayed the footage, not the theft but my face, careful, small. Taking less space never made me safer. It just made me easier to step over. Sloan texted at 2:03 p.m. Take down your police stuff. Brands are watching. I'll return the stupid watch and we'll call it even. You owe me an apology. I typed, you returned it to police at 2:34 a.m. On camera. Case number attached. What you do with followers is up to you. I don't negotiate with threats to your ad revenue. She replied with the line I've heard my whole life: just remember who family is when you need something. I thumbed out. I stopped needing. Airplane mode. That evening, Delgado called. We forwarded the report to the DA with your video. Likely they'll offer diversion if she admits fault, apology letter, restitution, maybe a class. If she declines, they can file. Is it normal to feel like I did something wrong even when I followed the rules? I asked. Every day, he said. That feeling is training, not truth. I watched the streetlights come on. The watch ticked on my counter like a metronome for a song I finally liked. When I slid it on, it didn't feel like a flex. It felt like a boundary with a clasp. Before bed, I opened a note titled House Rules and wrote, Stop arguing with people who benefit from my confusion. Save screenshots, not relationships with fake versions of reality. If it has a serial number, so do I. By Monday my life ran on 2 tabs, CD/CM at work and case number 74219 at home. At the shop, Mateo squinted at my render. You added fillets to your backbone, he said. I told him I finally used the non-emergency line the way adults use Allen keys, correctly, without bleeding. Mid-morning a DA liaison, Priya emailed. Likely diversion for Sloan if she admits fault, apology, restitution, a class. I stared at the impact form too long. Part of me wanted to type 8,000 versions of It's not just a watch. Instead I wrote the pattern: late shifts, rice dinners, being told to stop being dramatic, and how that dial meant you did something and it stayed yours. I sent it before I softened it. At lunch, Kayla rolled over. Family court, social media edition? She asked. Take time if you need it. Boundaries make better machinists. Shaky but right, I said. My phone buzzed. Family healing red heart. Mom. Dinner tonight. No lawyers. We talk. Dad. We can end this before it ruins Sloane's career. Sloane. I'll forgive you if you post you overreacted winky face. I proposed a neutral cafe and invited Aunt Deb, our only reliable adult. I arrived early with a folder, kitchen cam screenshots, her smear post, insurer email, DA note, and a sheet titled Terms in 12-point calibri. They came in as a unit and sat like a panel. I borrowed it, Sloane began. I meant to give it back, but someone called the police and traumatized the family. You didn't borrow it, I said. You took it, then told the internet I criminalized family. Keep your followers, give me the truth. Mom reached for my hand. I moved mine to my cup. We all make mistakes, she said. It's just a watch. Stop minimizing, Janice, Aunt Deb said. I slid terms across. Here's how this ends without a record, I said. Public correction, delete the smear and post. I took my brother's watch without permission. It was wrong. I'm sorry. 5 words you must say out loud. I took it. I'm sorry. Restitution. Cover my insurance bump and new locks. Boundaries. No entering my space or borrowing, for 30 days. Contact only through Priya. Dad scoffed. We don't sign contracts with family. You did for your mortgage. Aunt Deb murmured. Sloane stared at the page. You want me to admit theft? Brands looked at Tone. I can do sorry you felt hurt. I can't do I'm a criminal. Diversion isn't branding. I said. 5 words, Sloane. Say them and we're done. Her eyes watered. I'm sorry you felt. Nope. I said. That's a coupon. I'm asking for currency. She tried again. I'm sorry this got. Sloane. Aunt Deb said firm. Say the words. The espresso machine hissed like a judge. Outside, a bus sighed. Inside, my phone buzzed. Priya, DA will extend diversion upon admission. Mom tried pity. If this goes public, she'll lose work. Do you want that on your conscience? I didn't choose the consequence, I said. She chose the action. Sloane looked at I took it. I'm sorry. Then at me like I was a locked door. I can't, she whispered. I stacked the papers. Then the DA can do the talking, I said, standing. My statement stands. Priya's number is on the bottom. Mom's chair squealed. You do this to your own sister? I'm done training you to do this to me, I said. Outside, colder air. I called Priya. Leave the statement as is, I said. If she admits fault, I'm fine with diversion. If not, I'm fine with consequences. Understood, she said. I took the long way back to the shop. The watch sat under my cuff, steady and unblinking, beating like a heart that finally believed me. Priya's email landed like a calendar invite for accountability. The DA would extend diversion if Sloane accepted responsibility in writing within 72 hours, posted a correction that named the act, and made restitution. Missed the window, it moves to charging review. No drama, just deadlines. Sloane's response? A story with warm filters and a gauzy soundtrack. We all make mistakes, she breathed. Growth is a journey. Sending love to everyone learning with me. Sparkles. Comments. You're so brave, Queen. Not a single. I took it. Not a single. I'm sorry. I forwarded it to Priya with one line. This is a coupon again, not currency. That afternoon a locksmith came. Hank, according to the tag, studied my doorframe. Mind your business locks or keep out the relatives' locks? Keep out the relatives. He held up a steel strike plate. The Thanksgiving model. When he finished, the deadbolt thunked like a completed sentence. People act like being related is a master key, he said, packing his tools. It ain't. When he left, the place was quiet in a good way. The watch sat on the counter. I wound it like a ritual. Tick, 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 steel and gears to anyone else, a promise to me that I could build one thing and keep it. At 6:12 p.m. Mom arrived uninvited. I spoke through the door. No surprise visits. Please leave. You're being cruel, she said. Your sister has opportunities on the line. A statement that harsh will end brand deals. Then choose the accurate one before the deadline. I said. 5 words. I took it. I'm sorry. My neighbor's terrier barked once like a gavel. Her footsteps retreated. Aunt Deb texted an hour later. Proud of you for using the door like a boundary. Casserole at the desk, don't argue. I kept thinking about where this began. 15. My cousin borrowed my socket set and returned it as a glittering handful of missing sizes. Dad saw me counting and said, Don't be petty. Lesson logged, if you want peace, pay for it yourself. I did for a decade. The watch was the first luxury I didn't apologize for. Maybe that's why the theft hurt more than the price tag. It reached into years I spent proving I could be careful and said mine. Day 2, Mateo slid a coffee and a sticky note. Keep the torque. Lose the worry. Kayla approved a half day. For life logistics. I used it to speak with Priya. Outcomes were simple. Accept and complete the program. No conviction. Refuse and see a judge. Last thing, Priya said. Her manager asked what language would satisfy you. 5 words, I said. No euphemisms. 2 hours later, an email from brand partner relations. Approve. I'm sorry this situation created pain for my family. I replied with a blank line and typed, put these there, I took it. I'm sorry. Then, you may add, I'm returning it, I'm making it right. The 5 words are not negotiable. Silence. That night, I changed one more lock, the internal one on memory. I pulled an old photo, Sloane with the sparkler, me with the lighter, and put it back, face down. 72 hours is longer than you think. On hour 64, Priya pinged, we have motion. Check her page in the morning. I set the watch on the nightstand and listened to it after lights out. Younger me counted ticks to quiet his brain before the late shift. Tonight, the sound didn't say hurry, it said hold. Hold the line. Hold out for 5 honest words. At 7:03 a.m., Priya messaged, check her page. I expected another gauzy reel. Instead, plain white background, black text. I took my brother's watch without permission. It was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm returning it and making it right. 4 lines. 5 words that finally put a spine on the record. Comments split, accountability queen versus your brother is toxic. The internet argues, screenshots last. I send it to Priya. 10 minutes later she called. Admission satisfied. Diversion, handwritten apology, restitution, property offense class, 20 hours of community service. Complete it, no conviction. Miss it, arraignment. At work, Mateo glanced at the post. 5 words, he said. Tighter than your tolerances. Kayla slid a sticky note, proud of the process control. By lunch, my phone was a museum of reactions. Uncle Mark texted families shouldn't air laundry. I replied, then don't stain it. Aunt Deb sent a heart. Mom left a voice note that started, I'm glad this is over, and ended, we'll see you Sunday at 1. I typed, I won't be there. 30-day no contact stands. Send letters to Priya. Diversion orientation was that afternoon. Priya asked if I wanted to hear the start. I did. Gray carpet, beige chairs, a motivational poster about choices that looked tired. Sloane arrived with big sunglasses and small energy. Her manager hovered like a bill. The facilitator, Ms. Ellison, the kind of woman who can end a bar fight with a clipboard, read the plan. Restitution, $312 for locks and premiums. Handwritten apology, 2 paragraphs. Property offense class next Thursday. 20 hours at the Habitat Restore, no phones. And read your admission now, without qualifiers, she added. Silence. Then Sloane inhaled. I took my brother's watch without permission. It was wrong. I'm sorry. No filters, no hashtag, just air moving the truth around. Something unclenched between my shoulders, not forgiveness, relief from being the family's unpaid reality editor. Outside, I bought a small fireproof safe, documents, the warranty card, the page where my name and the serial agree. At the market I grabbed saffron. Rice deserves a graduation. Dad called while I measured water. I let it ring. He tried dignity, then leverage. Take down whatever you posted. I hadn't posted anything. I texted a screenshot of the apology. There is nothing to take down. Then you taught me to return tools I borrowed. I'm returning the same lesson. He replied, don't get smart. Too late, I wrote. Dinner tasted like a small country declaring independence. The apartment sounded like radiators, street noise, and the watch ticking, a metronome for a steadier song. At 9 p.m., Priya forwarded the scanned apology letter. Careful handwriting. She admitted taking the watch, said she justified it as family shares, and that sharing without permission is taking. She promised to complete the program and not contact me for 30 days. At the bottom, P.S. Mom says Sunday still works if you change your mind. The pull of a table where only some people ever got dessert. I slid the letter into the safe, spun the dial, and listened for the click. Not triumphant, calibrated. Like zeroing a tool I'd been using blind. The tolerance I set for myself would be the one I kept with others. If you want access, bring the 5 words. If you want trust, bring receipts. If you want family, bring respect. Aunt Deb texted, proud. Lemon bars, or are we too grown? Never too grown, I wrote. The city kept being itself. The watch kept being honest. For the first night in a week, I didn't sleep like a guard. I slept like an owner. The Habitat Restore smells like pine, dust, and second chances. I dropped off offcuts and a small box of mystery bits. At intake, Ms. Ellison, clipboard, sensible shoes, aura of try me, scanned my form. Donate, not supervise? Donate. She nodded. Skip aisle 7. Phone lockers there. Aisle 7. Hinges and hardware. Also, Sloan, hair in a knot, vest neon enough to land planes, sorting screws while a volunteer named Trevor recited thread pitch. Tiny dirt crescents under her nails. A gray lockbox, volunteer phones. Her manager hovered like someone wearing white near soup. No contact, Ms. Ellison murmured. 30 days means 30 days. We passed like planets that finally learned what an orbit is for. Sloan glanced up, surprised, not performative, then kept labeling. In the car I stacked donation receipts and felt something under my sternum, not triumph, equilibrium. The apology forced the universe to admit what happened. The work was forcing her to learn how things fit. While I ate a gas station muffin, a producer pitched a morning show, sibling healing, segment. Delete. A brand selling $79, empathy, hoodies wrote next. Delete. Back at the shop, Mateo wired a spindle motor. Did you see aisle 7? He asked. Donations only, I said. At lunch, Kayla handed me a small box, a brass plate engraved house rules. Mount it where you keep promises to yourself. That night I screwed the plate above the deadbolt Hank called, the Thanksgiving model, and taped V2 under it. Don't argue with narratives, produce receipts, opt out. If it needs a lock, it needs a rule. 5 words before access, I took it. I'm sorry. Reciprocity or recess. Humor is a tool, not a weapon. Aunt Deb texted, driveway at 6. Lemon bars. She hugged me like a person, not an investor. Your mother asked me to broker a delicate piece, fix her mess, she said. I told her piece has paperwork. Then, she said you've turned cruel. I said you've turned clear. Later, I took the watch to Mr. Khanna, the watchmaker with hands like tweezers. He listened, smiled. Good. You wear it. Where I'm from, families show in how they treat tools, return, care, permission. He adjusted the rate. Running a touch fast. Now you will breathe. On day 21, Mom tried a care package, with a note and cookies. The porter buzzed. I refused delivery. She texted a photo anyway, we are family. This has gone on long enough. I replied with a screenshot of our agreement, and the date the 30 days ended. On day 24, Dad called from an unknown number. We're missing a screwdriver set you left here. When can you pick it up? You mean the one from when I was 15? The set that came back glittering with missing sizes? You don't have to be sarcastic. Sarcasm is free, I said. Leave it on the porch. I'll send a courier. You're making this transactional. It always was, I said. I'm just itemizing it. That night, I made saffron rice and ate with Mateo and Kayla. Locks, jokes, better plates. On day 29, Ms. Ellison called. She's on track. 2 shifts left, then the class. She hates the no-phone rule, but she's good with donors. Progress, I said. Patience, she replied. On day 30, Priya emailed, no contact ends at midnight. Your call on what happens next. I turned off the lights and read the plate. The deadbolt slid with a satisfying thunk. Locks keep people out, rules keep me in, inside the life I built, inside the person who decides what belongs where. The 30 days ended on a Sunday. No knocks, no group chat resurrections, just sunlight on my kitchen table and the watch humming like I'd finally caught up to it. Mail, a plain envelope in Sloane's handwriting. Inside, the program apology plus one line she hadn't been forced to write. I didn't think family needed permission. I'm learning it does. I'll earn it back. I filed it in the safe. Not forgiveness, documentation. Priya emailed, diversion complete pending final shift. You can choose contact or keep distance. I replied, liaison only for now. I took Saffron down like a holiday and texted the people who show up without being asked. Aunt Deb, Mateo and Kayla, Hank, and Mr. Khanna. We ate on mismatched plates and talked about everything except the old script. Halfway through dessert, a soft knock, polite, not entitled. Ms. Ellison stood on the landing with a banker's box. Donation drop, she said. Inside, a full screwdriver set, every slot filled. A sticky note in Dad's block letters, returned. A second note, Sloan's, replaced the missing ones. I learned the numbers. S. No speech. No cameras. Just a thing that once came back glittering with gaps, arriving complete. It didn't fix a decade. It calibrated the next minute. Receipt? I asked. Already emailed, she said. I labeled it accountability in kind. After she left, Deb tapped the brass plate, house rules. Looks like the system works. They're just tools, I said. Like the screws. Mr. Khanna listened to the watch and nodded. It was never a flex, I added. It was a clock. It told me when to stop. When the night wound down, I taped one last note under the plate. If they want back in, knock like Ms. Ellison. If they want a shortcut, tell them aisle 7. If they bring 5 honest words and a full set of sizes, crack the door and listen for squeaks. I washed dishes, checked the deadbolt. Outside, the city kept its time. Inside, mine ticked steady. In bed, I didn't rehearse defenses. I set the watch on the nightstand and let it count my heartbeat back to normal. Tomorrow may bring another ask, another attempt to renegotiate the price of admission. That's fine. The door I keep is mine, and I decide what it costs to open it. The watch glowed faintly. Not a trophy. A timer I finally learned to stop.